It is. Okay, so are we in full screen? Yes, we are. I'll edit that bit out. Right, guys, I'm here with Vicky. I put a shout out on Twitter a few days ago just to say that I'd really love to have coffee and chat with people and see whether we can support each other getting our businesses out there and generally supporting the craft and creative arts community as well, because I think we're all struggling at the moment. So hello Vicky.
Hello.
So should we start off by if you introduce yourself and what you do, and in terms of people on Twitter, reminding people of what your Twitter handle is so they actually put a name to the face.
Okay, well, I'm Vicky from Two Makers, and I kind of got two businesses going. One is the craft side of things. My partner and I have got an Etsy shop. He's an artist. I will craft sort of jewellery, wire trees, things like that. And we also have a blog where I write, so I also write blog content. And my other business is my personal coaching business, which came out of my Reiki therapy, which I've been doing for many years, and that's I tend to work remotely with people, and personal coaching I think is one of those things that people don't really get their heads around, but it's and it's quite creative for me as well, because I write a lot about self-care and things like that, and eventually I hope to get the book together.
So of the two businesses, which is the one that you lean to more?
I go between the two.
Oh, do you?
I find it really hard just to say I am a this and I'm a that, and I'm a bit of that as well, and I'm lots of things, but they will kind of feed into each other.
I was just thinking actually, because it's one of the things I found since I've come out of teaching, which was, I mean, in itself it is almost a performance profession, because you are stood in front of children performing all day, but actually it's also quite a restrictive profession, because there are so many sort of rules and expectations about what you do. And I found, since I've stepped out of that and stepped into photography as a business rather than as my hobby, that actually it's opened up all of this other desire in me to be creative in different ways. So getting back to writing and the whole idea of community. I mean, the thought of doing a video chat with somebody 12 months ago would have been just horrific for me, but I actually I just think as soon as you step down a creative pathway, it kind of opens you up to other ways of being creative. So talk to me about the personal coaching, because that's the thing that you've just said that people don't get. So I do, but talk to me about it.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is that people think of coaching as being the old school Tony Robbins kind of, you've got to win, you've got to be a winner, getting ahead, and it's not. It's just about looking at where you are now and how can you get the best life you can in this moment. And it's just, very often it's about questioning your thinking. The thing with coaching is we come from the approach that everybody's already got inside them the answers. The wisdom's in you, there is there already, and my job as a coach is just to ask the questions that unlocks that.
So essentially you're almost providing the triggers for that self-realization, and it's kind of I'm thinking from a business theory point of view, it's that whole thing to do with Maslow's hierarchy of needs and getting to the top of the pyramid, isn't it? And being able to self-actualize and take those steps forward. So in terms, how do you work the coaching? Because you do that remotely. So do you do it video, or?
I could be on the phone or video call, whichever people prefer. And it works really, really well. I mean, I've had coaching myself. the same way, and it's great. It works fine. And at the moment, with the current situation, it's not about setting goals. It's not about trying to write a symphony. It's not about. It's just literally, this is where I am now. So how can I make this okay? How can I get the best from this? And how can I accept that actually it might not be how I want it to be every day? And it's being kind to yourself. It's self-care, but it's not superficial. It's this. I don't know if you find it when you're stressed. That's when the negative self-talk will come in. And that's when you start beating yourself up. You're not doing this right. You should be doing that. And it's just about being kinder to yourself and saying, well, maybe today I'm not going to worry about getting the washing done. I mean, I will tell you, I have not ironed for 10 years.
Oh, yes, I am with you.
So, what is it you can let go of? What is it doesn't matter, particularly now?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'll come back to that in a little bit about sort of the whole situation that we're in now. But I do get the coaching, because I'm being coached at the moment. I've gone through 2 different periods of coaching in the last 12 months, and one of them was specifically kind of business coaching and looking at social media and looking at the sort of practical elements of getting started and getting launched on social media. And I did that with Sam Kelly, who's she's known as the tweeting goddess on Twitter, and she's fabulous.
Okay.
But at the moment I'm doing some creative leadership coaching with somebody who she was a really successful businesswoman and a superbly successful photographer, and she's moved into coaching specifically to help people, I guess, like us, like in the community that we're in, who are natural creatives, crafters, musicians, artists, photographers, whatever, but who need that support to kind of get past the different sort of internal characters that we have that sabotage us. So I'm doing a huge amount of work with her at the moment on identifying all of my internal saboteurs, the things that come along and stop me. And I'm finding that so interesting because I've started becoming aware of the voice, not in a sort of actually hearing voices sort of way, but actually getting a sense that I'm judging myself, or because I'm not judging myself, because that I'm actually about to judge somebody else and calling myself out on that. And I've found that really enlightening. It's making such a difference to me. And since I've started doing that and observing it, my levels of creativity have kind of started to blossom. I mean, it's green shoots, it's early days, but coaching, I am a big advocate of coaching. It's just finding the right type of coaching for you, isn't it?
And it would be the right one at the right time, because I specialize in times of change.
Yes.
And the change you can't avoid, the change that breaks you, because it's like an acorn. It's really hard and tough, and that shell has to break before it can grow. But then when it does, it's something incredible. But it's that just allowing yourself to break, and it's what times of change are, because it's happening collectively at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. So what would your advice be in terms of if somebody's watching this, or we're talking in our community about coaching, and somebody says, well, actually maybe coaching's for me, what would you advise them in terms of how would they go about finding the right coach for them?
Most coaches will offer free sessions, or I'm offering free half hours for anybody, because maybe at the moment half an hour would be all that somebody would want at the moment, but in that time you will find out whether they're the right coach for you.
Yeah. Okay. And so do you, I'm somebody who firmly believes in my gut instinct. I'm really big on intuition, and I do trust it, because it's no, apart from once or twice, it's never really served me badly. So I'm a firm believer that if I connect with somebody, whether that's over the phone or through face to face or whatever, I will trust that judgment. And I've deliberately not gone with a couple of potential routes for coaching because they weren't my kind of people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So you definitely advocate for trusting your own judgment in terms of what
you'll know pretty quickly once you sit and have a conversation with a coach, because it's all coaching, it's conversation. It's not therapy. If you need therapy, that's the route you have to go down.
And that's a really important distinction to make, isn't it? Is that it's not counselling, it's not therapy, it's about allowing you to grow
exactly
as a person, pathway that you want to go down.
Absolutely. And it's why I find it suits me as somebody who's creative, because it's looking for creative solutions, looking outside of the box. And it's a very rich thing to do, and it's very personally enriching. I love it.
It's good to find something that intrinsically is that rewarding, isn't it? So tell me, let's ignore lockdown for a minute. What would a normal day look like for you in terms of your business and sort of how you structure your day, structure your time? What are you doing on a normal day?
Well, a normal day for me, usually I've got college runs, working mums, so it's delivering my children wherever they need to be, and then slotting in my hour sessions around that. And I may be crafting as well, or I may go and do some gardening, or I may be writing. Just depends what I've got on. And I've got 3 teenagers, and my partner, so there's also family time.
And so do you find that that the craft and the coaching actually gives you that flexibility to be present with family and to be able to do the things that you want to do?
I mean, I sit making my trees at the dining table with the kids, sort of because it's one room, so they'll be sitting watching TV and I'll be sitting behind them making bookmarks or making trees or whatever. And it's nice to be able to get out of my head and into my hands. That's really good. Writing as well, that's something really different, but words are my thing. Words have always been my thing, so I do enjoy that, and it's moving from thing to thing. I do enjoy doing that.
So you are actually quite varied in terms of your daily activity. So what aspect of what you do you think brings you the most joy?
It's difficult, because it's lovely. I've just got a commission for a wire tree for somebody for their wedding anniversary, which is it's amazing. But then when you write something and somebody says, "Oh, that really got me here," or "I could picture that in my head," or "I know exactly what you're talking about," that's wonderful. And then of course when somebody says, you've changed my life, that's so there isn't one thing.
There isn't one specific.
No.
Okay, I get that. And what motivates you? What's the reason behind what you do?
I think I'd feel squashed if I didn't, if that makes sense. it would be like, if you are creative, you have to create, and if you don't, you feel wrong in some way. Julia Cameron says in The Artist's Way, you have to feel safe to create. And I think that's something that matters to me in my life. I think even in the situation we're in now, I now feel safe to create, whereas in the past maybe I hadn't.
Right. Yeah. That resonates, because I feel, I mean, I kept a daily photo journal online on a website called Blip Photo, and I started it in 2008, and I did it every day religiously, every evening, one photo a day and a journal entry. And some days it was really short, and some days, they were epic rants. I became quite well known on the website for writing quite spectacular rants about particular things. And then at some point 3 or 4 years ago, that kind of drifted off, and I think my working life had changed in such a way at that point that what you talked about being squashed, that's what happened. I kind of, everything else that was going on in life squashed me into a box that was all about work. That was it. Nothing else, and all of the creativity, all of the, I used to paint. You can, in the mirror, you can actually see one of my paintings in the back. I used to paint. I used to be out, my camera used to go everywhere, and I've been a photographer for 30 years, there or thereabouts, and I stopped, and I realized that, with the benefit of hindsight, actually that's when I started to lose me. And that's when my challenges with my mental health started as well. And it's only as I've got back into being more creative again that I actually can genuinely say that in normal circumstances I'm much more on a level, because I feel like I've connected back to who I am, whereas I'm not that person. So I do completely get that sort of, if you are a creative, it's there, or it's trying to get out, isn't it, all of the time, in whatever way.
I mean, with my coaching, talking about coaching through times of change, this is very much what it's about, because if you're in the wrong life for you, you will be squashed, you won't flourish, you will feel just desperately like something's wrong. And it does sometimes take really radical change in order to feel okay. But when you're in the right life, it's amazing the difference it makes, to your creativity, but also to your mental well-being, to how you function with other people, the relationships you have. How, for me, how I parent. Everything's different.
I think it changes your perspective as well, doesn't it, in terms of what's of value in real terms. So one of the reasons that that I always thought that I would stay in teaching was financial, I was comfortable, I had a mortgage, I had carpet, all of those things, and I couldn't possibly afford to step away from that guaranteed salary. And when I left teaching last year, and I actually sat for many nights over a period of a number of months with my brother, talking about different, how I could maybe transfer into the business world, because the teacher's skill set's really valued. And then one day he just said to me, why don't you do your photography? It's the thing that you love. And I was like, and he said, look, at the moment, you're not bringing any money in, you're surviving, you can live, I'm happily married. So you've completely demonstrated that you can live without the salary that you were earning. I did need to earn, but you can do without that big chunk of money each month. Try it, and what's the worst that can happen? And that's been my big takeaway this last 6 to 8 months, is actually we can survive on much less and are actually happier for it, because we've become much less materialistic, and and value time with each other, whether it's me and the husband or me and my son. The other things have become important that had got lost.
I can relate to that. Yeah, I know at the unhappy times of my life, I spend money. Yeah.
And it's
I need to now.
It's a comfort mechanism, isn't it?
It is, and it's a distraction. Actually, it's this bit over here in my life really isn't working, so I'm going to distract myself over here by buying cushions or shoes or
shoes.
Yeah,
that's definitely me. Cheer myself up with a pair of shoes. So, in terms of the business so far, what's the biggest challenge you've had to face, and have you overcome it, or are you in the process?
I'm very much in the process of it, because I'd had a really messy divorce and everything had to be put on hold while I was doing that. So I had a Reiki therapy practice. It all just had to go over there while I concentrated on the everything else that was going on. And I was just ready to go back into coaching and Reiki, and I was diagnosed with melanoma.
Right.
And that came so left field. My partner moved in to help me through that, surgery and stuff. But we hadn't been together that long.
Right.
We'd been together about sort of 4 or 5 months. So there was just changes everywhere. And I didn't feel it was fair for me to actually go out coaching at that time, because I didn't feel I was in the right space to really be of help to people when I was dealing with my own stuff.
Okay.
And I'm okay. They got it all in one go, and it hadn't spread, and so I'm okay. And it's like, okay, so after Christmas we're gonna get back out there, and we know where we are now. So, but it's interesting though, because the craft side of things didn't exist, and it wouldn't have existed if I hadn't had melanoma.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I was sitting in my garden last summer with a piece of garden wire in front of me, and I started fiddling with it. I made a tree, and my partner's an artist, and he said to me, "You should sell these." And the first one wasn't good enough to sell, but eventually I found a way of doing them. And just during that sort of 3-month period where there was sort of 2 lots of surgery and then waiting for results and all sorts of things going on, I started making these trees. I love trees. I'm very much into nature spirituality, so I love my trees. And I thought, well, you used to really love jewellery making. So I found some old necklaces and started hunting around charity shops for bits, and started up making upcycled necklaces and earrings and bookmarks and things. And so it's strange that it's found me something so fulfilling.
Yes.
Kind
of helped you heal. Would it be too much to do that?
I would say it got me through.
Yeah.
Definitely got me through. The thing that helped me heal is nature.
Yeah.
Massively. And still is in this situation. It's where I go to, and it always has been. I can't ever remember a time when that hasn't been what I've done. Whenever I felt out of sorts, it's head outside, even if it's just in the garden with a cup of tea.
Yeah,
and everybody knows that's what I do when I feel out of sorts, and just leave her, and she'll be okay.
Space.
Yeah.
So, in terms of let's focus back in a little bit. So, in terms of where we are right now, obviously, we're in lockdown.
Mhm.
How's that impacted? Let's do it in two parts. How's it impacted on you personally, and how's it impacted on the business?
Personally, I don't know if it sounds right, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
I have bad days. I have good days. I know I'm going to wake up anxious because I've probably dreamt about something, or something would have gone into my conscience during the day, and I'd have dreamt about it or be processing. I wake up and I think, okay, why am I anxious today? And one morning I woke up to Kevin and said, we haven't got enough ventilators. He was like, why do we need ventilators? I said, no, we haven't got enough ventilators. And it's just,
I think we've all had those moments.
yeah, exactly. I mean, but other days, it might be a personal thing. I might wake up and think, okay, well, how is the financial situation going to be? Or my daughter's just been diagnosed with celiacs, so am I going to be able to get enough gluten-free pasta?
Yeah.
Particularly in the early days with the panic buying, I couldn't get anything gluten-free.
Right.
So it's just things like that.
Yeah.
But I know I'm going to be anxious in the morning, so I allow myself that time. When Kev goes off and gets a coffee for us, I'm going to be, oh, and then he knows once I've had my coffee, I'd have had that. And if you let worry come, worry goes.
Yeah.
Fighting it is not a good idea, but and that's my worry time. And I've had my worry time. I've had my coffee. Okay, we're going to go and get on with the day. And that I find is working for me. And there may be other times during the day when I feel a bit wobbly, but okay, we'll worry about that later.
So kind of sitting with it and
Yeah,
letting it be, and then letting
yeah,
it go. Yeah.
yeah,
I get.
yeah. And sometimes I may feel sad, and that's okay too. It's normal. Yeah, I think this is one of the things that I've learned is, in this situation, we're going to feel sad, we're going to feel anxious, we're going to feel worried, we're going to feel confused, we're going to feel uncertain. And it's just accepting that. And then you come back to the present moment. Well, okay, what's going on in my world at the present moment? I'm okay, my kids are okay, my partner's okay. I know my parents are okay. The sun's shining, we've got food, we've got everything we need in this moment, we're okay.
Yeah. It's kind of it just, it all feels like a bit of a kaleidoscope, doesn't it, in terms of, I mean, that's how I feel on a daily basis. I think I can go through virtually every emotion during a day.
Yeah,
Sometimes it seems like in the space of about a minute I can get
yeah,
through
yeah,
it
yeah.
all. And I mean, I've taken to journaling,
Yeah,
and just kind of, not every day, and I've not got into a routine with it, but I go to my book when I feel that I need to. And I'm just starting to meditate as well, although I just can't get my mind still enough to do that at the moment. So I know I need practice and practice with that.
Well, the meditation, we think we're going to still our minds. No, we don't. But you keep going and you keep going. Gratitude journal's a good one.
Okay, so talk to
I
me,
do that at night.
because a few people have talked to me about that, about sort of daily gratitudes, and so I think I know what they mean, but I'm not sure I know what they mean. So talk to
It'll
me.
be different people do it different ways, but I have a really pretty notebook, keep it by my bed, and last thing at night, I write, today I'm grateful for, and a minimum of 3 very specific things that I'm grateful for. So it won't be, I'm grateful for my kids, I'm grateful for my partner, I'm grateful for, it will be, I'm grateful for my son bringing me a cup of coffee. I'm grateful for the fact we laughed so much watching Father Ted, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So they are really. And do you go back to those? Do you go back and read back through them, or?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think maybe I need to start doing that. Have you had any kind of real moments of revelation, of realization, of maybe a shift in your normal day-to-day thinking? Has anything happened as a result of the change in lockdown that you've gone, oh, actually, when this is all over, I'm not going to do that anymore?
Um, I don't know. I think, you know, I had melanoma last year, and things like that, and the situation we're in now, and you know, people expect you to suddenly go off with a bucket list and
Mhm.
want to, yeah, sort of meditate on the beach in Bali and, you know, go hiking in the Himalayas, and you don't. Well, I didn't anyway. For me, it's being so grateful for the normal things.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you know, I would dearly love to be able to go when I go to Tesco to go and get a coffee in their little coffee shop. It is that simple.
Yeah, yeah, it's the thing
Um,
that maybe we took for granted as every day.
yeah.
That's it for me. I think I'm, aside from the fact that it's killing me that I can't see my son because he's,
Mm,
20 miles down the road in Manchester, and
yeah.
we can't. And I've missed his 20th birthday, and that's the
Yeah.
first birthday that, so there's those things that like really hurt, like stink.
Mm,
And we have lost somebody close to the family, and the, there's all of
okay.
those things. But I think I am, I think, grateful for the fact that similar things that we can eat, and we've got a roof over our
Mm,
head. But me and my husband, who, I mean, he is a nutter, um, but
mm,
we laugh every single day now. Something
yeah.
will cause us to laugh every
Yeah.
single day because we're much more present. And
Mm,
he's already said to me, I'm dreading going back to being at work every day and us getting, going back to how it was.
yeah.
So I think that gratitude thing for me is really important.
Yeah.
I think it's,
And time with family and time with your loved ones. Yeah, I'm missing my dad. I miss my dad like crazy.
mm,
But it's still, you know, every night my son's organised either a film night or a TV night.
oh, that's,
So we have dinner, and then the five of us are in front of the TV together. We've gone through all the Star Wars films. We've gone through the entire Sherlock series. We're about to start on Lord of the Rings, which is a bit of a marathon.
epic. That one's
Yeah,
going to take a while.
yeah. So you know, it's and that's really nice because we're coming together as a family.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you know, we are close anyway, but it's nice, and yeah, it's this is time we're not going to get back.
Mm,
And simply ticking the days off on a chart, I do get it because I've done it myself in the past. But it, don't look on it just as lost time.
no, but then we were talking off camera before about the kind of the other extreme of that. This sort of and I do think it comes from social media, but this whole sort
Mm,
of pressure to, you need to be exercising, and you need to be doing
yeah,
this, and you need to be losing weight and learning to speak, whatever language, and this
yeah,
whole sort of, if you don't come out of this with a whole pile of new skills, then you've wasted your time. So I think
yeah.
does
But
that
it's a
whole,
cliche. Sorry, I was going to say it's the cliche about being a human doing and not
yeah,
a human being.
yeah,
And for me, it's very much about being with this situation and being in this situation, being with each other, being with where we are. It's not about doing. It's not about having a list of things to do. I mean, we all have things we have to do. But if you get to the end of the day and you've given your kids some frozen pizza and you've had a shower, whatever else is fitted in around that, and if at some point you've had to get under your duvet and just make the world go away for a couple of minutes, that's fine.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Get that. I mean, my achievement today has literally been having a shower and blow drying my hair properly.
yeah,
So up until this point, obviously, I mean, this is even that we're doing a conversation online,
Yeah.
and that it's working. So I think coming to sort of bringing it all together, what you're listening to, what you're reading, what you're watching. So you've gone through the Star Wars movies, and we're on Lord.
Yeah, Sherlock.
Are you a reader? Is music a big part of your life? What?
Yeah, music. I'm listening to Turing Breaks. Absolutely love Turing Breaks. Sigur Rós.
Nice.
I do like my Sandix. Bit of Oliver Arnold's. Lots of folk music, older stuff, Sandy Denny, stuff like that. Cinematic orchestra I had on the.
I love the cinematic orchestra.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I quite like sad music.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't make me feel sad. It makes me feel happy. So whatever.
Yeah, I get that. I do get
calming.
that.
It's quite strange. Reading wise, I'm terrible because I dip in and out of books. So I'll start a book and then put that, and I'm going to read a bit more of that another time, and then it'll be something else. But I'm reading Jon Kabat-Zinn at the moment, a book on mindfulness.
Right.
Are
you a preferer of fiction or fact?
It's funny. I always used to be a fiction reader, and now I'm factual. I read a lot of factual stuff.
That's interesting.
Which is strange. I don't know why that is. I find reading fiction now quite difficult.
Do you think that's because you're in yourself, you're more creative, so you don't need to dip into somebody else's creative world?
That's very interesting. It could be that, and it could also be that I used to read to escape, and I don't need to escape anymore.
Yeah, isn't that?
I think there's. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's probably what it is. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because I'm very much a reader of, and the same with TV, a reader and watcher of documentaries and of historical accounts of the, I find it difficult with fiction to. I used to, and I used to be a really strong advocate of reading a book before watching the film or the TV version of it, so I'd already got it in my head. But I find I struggle with fiction these days. Maybe it's an older thing as well.
I don't know. I mean, I love stuff like Robert Macfarlane, the nature writer. Love his stuff. I've got Emma Mitchell, the Wild Remedy, stuff like that. But yeah, it's all. I love psychology books. There's a book called The Examined Life by Stephen Gross, which is fantastic, and I just read it from. I will literally get to the end and go back to the beginning because I find it so fascinating.
Really,
talking about some of his clients and his psychotherapy practice. I love that kind of thing. It's understanding how people work and the things we do. I just love it.
Getting into the mindset, sort of. So what's next for you? What's next for the business? Let's assume that lockdown doesn't keep us locked down forever, and what's the plan?
I would definitely want to build on the coaching, and I'd like to do some more face-to-face work. I'd like to get back into Reiki therapy again because I really love that. Definitely focusing on coaching, and my little blog articles that I write, I want to bring them together in a book. And because I love nature so much, I'd like to bring that into it as well, because I think nature imagery is really helpful. In fact, my next task is going to be I've got an elemental tree guided meditation that I want to record as an audio and put on my website so people can listen to it.
Nice.
To just 10 minutes calm. But I do still want to carry on with my crafts because I love that. So yeah, definitely coaching though. That's I love helping people. It's a lovely thing to do.
Yeah,
working with people.
Yeah, I do think that's one of the joys of the community that we've mutually connected through is that the vast majority of the people that are there are welcoming, are open, are really supportive, but also there's a real sense that they want to support and serve each other. and that, you know, it's not a sort of every man for himself Hunger Games kind of situation,
Very much so.
which is the worry sometimes, isn't it, with social media, that it can be quite dog eat dog. And so I do think we're privileged to have landed in a community that is as supportive as it is.
It's lovely.
It is, and I quite often, people will say, oh, Twitter and social, you know, Facebook, and my dad calls Facebook face ache, you know, and I get a lot of negativity from people about, you know, why do you not get trolled, do you not get this, do you not get that? And I just think, actually, if you go there in the right way, and you find your tribe, then actually it's a really lovely place to be. And you know, you can participate as much or as little as you want. I mean, I'm up and down with that, and depend, you know, some days I go down the rabbit hole and I'm there for hours. Days I'm not. But what's really lovely is that we all check in. So last week, when I was absent for a day, people messaged me to check that, and I just think that's just people are still people. Even if they're sat behind a keyboard and a monitor. I think
absolutely
people's true colours come out. So
it's interesting what you say about finding your tribe. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, I joined Twitter initially last August with the intention of it being a vehicle for me to promote my business, similarly with Facebook and Instagram, in different ways. But actually, I don't use Twitter. I mean, I do promote myself, but I do it. I'm not doing it in a deliberately overt way. Partly because that's the worst bit for me, is running a business. Is I'm really bad at pushing myself to people. But I actually I just love the connection with other people. I just take so much value from that.
I know. I'm sorry, that was my battery telling me on my iPad my battery's going to go.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got involved in things. I'm taking part in a survey of primula species with a botany university. And they've just put a call out. They want people to go and preserve samples, and we've got those cowslips growing around here. So I'm going to take part in that. I mean, I've never done that before.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
it's brilliant.
Opportunities thing is amazing, isn't it? And had we not been on Twitter, then we would not have had this chat this afternoon. So
exactly, and it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, it's been lovely to chat with you as well. It's like having somebody around for a cup of coffee.
It's really nice.
So before your battery goes, I will say au revoir, and if you could if you send me links to your blogs and anything that you want me to put in the blurb, and then people can obviously find you from there if they're not already following you.
That's great. It's brilliant.
It's been lovely chatting to you.
It has been really good, and have a lovely rest of the day.
And you.
Hope you get to enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing now. Outside, back garden, feet up.
Yeah, definitely.
Job done. Enjoy your day. Take care.
And you take care. Bye.
Bye.